The bicep is named that because there are points near the shoulder. The short head attaches to the coracoid process, which is a part of the shoulder blade, and the long head goes over the humerus through the biceps channel and connects in the socket. Pain will be present inside your arm if there's a problem with the short head. If there's a problem with the long head, typically the pain will run over the shoulder. We're going to locate the head of the biceps that attaches near the forearm. To do this, flex your arm with your fingers on the bicep near the elbow and find the tendon at the base of the muscle belly. Simply pinch the muscle belly and extend the arm. If you feel like you're not getting enough pressure with your fingertips, use a lacrosse ball. Try one of two positions, either holding with your fingers or pressed with the palm into the bicep. I find I get better pressure when I use my palm. Remember to squeeze and extend. Another muscle that could create bicep pain is actually in your forearm. This is the brachioradialis, which passes from the humerus towards the wrist. To begin working the brachioradialis, reach under the elbow across to the forearm and pinch down as hard as you can tolerate. Now rotate the wrist, and the muscle should feel like it grinds underneath the fingertips. Do 7 to 10 repetitions, then locate a new point and continue to grind over that muscle. You should feel the fingers drop off the muscle. When you finish, put the fingers on top of the arm, pinch down, and create extension while rotating the wrist. Again, bend the elbow, then extend while you rotate the wrist. Notice my hand goes palm to chest, then palm to floor while I'm extending my elbow. Perform 7 to 10 repetitions, and then move on to the next tender spot and repeat. When you have finished the pin and stretch, move on to cross fiber friction. Place the arm you are working across your knees, then grind the opposite forearm across the muscle tissue near the bicep head. This should be an abrasive force, moving through the muscle tissue quickly. Continue to press through that muscle tissue until you feel like you've broken down the entire thing.
Here's all the tools that you'll need for each one of the exercises. Okay, whether you follow the beginner, intermediate, or advanced. And now let's jump into our exercises for warm-ups. Small circles, kind of moving those arms. I want you to think too though, move the shoulders with the arms, right? So your shoulders should be kind of shrugging up and pulling back, rolling forward as we move the arms as well. Good, firm squeezes through the core already. Try to use this time as a primer. So big circles through those shoulders. Again, we want to take and move the entire shoulder blade through its range of motion. So you're thinking extend all the way up to the ceiling, down to the floor as far as you can. Roll those shoulders forward and roll them back. Internal, external rotations. So shoulders rolling forward and shoulders pinching back. That should be the primary part of this movement. So we're not so much worried about elbows, but rather put a lot of focus into those shoulders. In March, we want to start focusing on staying tall while we move those legs. Keep those shoulder blades pinched down and back. Now that we've felt the different positions, we're going to start working our way into pulling those shoulders down and back. Core compress like someone's going to whack you in the belly. And hold that butt cheek nice and tight that you stand on. Okay, that leg needs to be firm. Good leg swings. Remember, as we go through these swings, if your low back happens to have any issues, you might not want to swing the entire pelvis, but more just the hip joint. Otherwise, just get things loosened up and moving. Let's move into those hip flexor stretches. Remember that back leg should be nice and straight. Lock your knee and then tuck your pelvis. Okay, you're thinking squeeze those butt cheeks together nice and tight. So you don't have to be in a real big lunge position to make that hip flexor loose. Okay, you can just make sure that you get that knee straight and squeeze those butt cheeks together nice and tight. You will get a good stretch out of that hip flexor. Okay, when we finish these stretches, we're getting ready for the squat rows. So if you have bands, we'll get those attached, be ready to go. Otherwise, we'll be leaning against a wall.
3, 2, 1. Get ready for row squats.
Remember with your squats, so whether you're against the wall or actually squatting, you want to be ripping the floor apart and pressing through those feet.
3, 2, 1. Row squats.
Shoulder blades down and back. Remember, your shoulders should be farther back than your elbows ever go, okay? Drive down and back, compressing that core. You're still firing through those butt cheeks, ripping that floor apart. Remember, round one we can use still as a warm-up. Get your brain connected to the movement. You can move nice and slow. Make sure you're getting every piece of this workout. And that would be the butt, the belly, and the back. Make sure each one is squeezing.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to chest press lunge.
Remember to maintain a tall posture and squeeze the beach ball with your elbows.
3, 2, 1. Chest press lunge.
So we're always thinking compress that core, stay nice and tall. We would like to keep those shoulders over the hips, bend those knees, and then straighten the knees.
That's halfway.
Perfect opportunity to recompress that core. Squeeze back through the butt cheeks, try to clinch that penny nice and tight, and then get the shoulders out of the ears.
3, 2, 1. Transition to hammer curl good mornings.
With your good mornings, be pushing your butt backwards to the wall behind you. Tall, straight spine.
3, 2, 1. Hammer curl good mornings.
So again, imagine a band pulling your hips back behind your heels, right? Reach your butt behind you. Should create a really big stretch on the back of the legs, the hamstrings. Okay? Then you're going to squeeze up nice and tall, pinching your butt cheeks together.
That's halfway.
And finish by driving your hips forward and tucking that tailbone underneath you, right? Really pinch tight. Squeeze nice and firm.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to step up overhead press.
Good step up overhead presses. Remember to press that core as we create the movement.
3, 2,
Squeeze
1.
tight.
Step up overhead press.
Remember to maintain your balance as much as you can. We get that through compressing the core, squeezing the leg tight, holding those butt cheeks tight. The stronger our body, the easier it is to balance.
That's halfway.
Great time to recheck that core, compress really hard. So you push those arms up, you think someone's going to whack you in the belly.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to tricep press down step back lunge.
Very good work. Get set for some more of those lunges and tricep press downs. Stay tall.
3,
Keep those shoulders
2,
back.
1. Tricep press down step back lunge.
As you lower down, keep the shoulders over your hips. Try not to be leaning excessively forward. Then those elbows, you're just straightening as much as you possibly can. Lock the backs of those arms. Good compression.
That's halfway.
I want you to finish your work, right? Making sure that you're thinking about your movement.
3, 2, 1. Transition to hamstring curl pull aparts.
Good hamstring curls, ripping the towel apart, no matter what, shoulder blades down and back.
3, 2, 1. Hamstring curl pull aparts.
Bend those knees nice and hard. Compress that core. Stay tall and tight. Drive those heels. Again, really connect through the movements here.
That's halfway.
Recheck that core, seated posture. Make sure you're squeezing through those knees. Bend those knees nice and hard.
3, 2, 1. Long rest.
Absolutely fantastic work, everyone. Make sure that we begin this process of focusing on our movement enough to really change the way that we're challenging the movement. Okay, when we challenge the movement, that's when we're going to see the biggest change. So do that through either more repetitions, think move just a little bit faster, or add some resistance. Stretch your bands farther, get more weight as far as hand weights, whatever it is that you need to make more challenge out of this.
3, 2, 1. Get ready for row squats.
Remember to rip the floor apart, keep those shoulder blades down and
3,
back.
2,
Squeeze
1.
as hard as you
Row
can.
squats.
Remember, good core compression and keep those shoulders behind the elbows.
That's halfway.
Be ripping the floor apart. You're thinking driving your feet away from each other the whole time, even as you stand tall if you're going through the squat motion. Compress hard.
3, 2, 1. Transition to chest press lunge.
Remember to think about that beach ball being in front of the chest. You want to lift your chest high and then pinch the beach ball with your elbows.
3, 2, 1. Chest press lunge.
Stay tall. Keep the shoulders over the hips. You want to be thinking, ride the elevator, not the escalator. Okay? Your shoulders shouldn't be falling forward over the knees.
That's halfway.
Good time to recheck that core. Press really tight. Firm squeeze.
Three, two, one. Transition to hammer curl. Good mornings.
Good mornings means push your butt back to the wall behind you.
3, 2, 1. Hammer curl. Good mornings.
Imagine a band pulling your hips backwards. You want to press your hips forward, tucking your butt, standing all the way tall. Okay, don't think arch your back and push your hips forward. Just think come up nice and tall in a firm position with your butt cheeks squeezing that penny
That's
flat.
halfway.
Recompress that core.
2, 1. Transition to step up overhead press.
As you step up, make sure your hips stay level with the ground. I don't want you to hike your hips up.
3, 2, 1. Step up overhead press.
So whether you're doing this on the ground or you're actually using a step, no matter what, you don't want to be driving the force through the hip up towards the shoulder, okay? Thinking almost like a side bend. We want to stay even. So with your core compressed, your hips should stay right underneath you,
That's
regardless
halfway.
of how high you bring that knee. So recompress the core. That is so important.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to tricep press down step back lunge.
As you step back, make sure you're bending both knees. A lot of times that back leg wants
3,
to stay straight.
2, 1. Tricep press down step back lunge.
Stay tall, pull those shoulders down and back, recompress that core. Again, a small challenge more than last round, working into this movement.
That's halfway.
Always, always be working towards bending both knees, even if it's a tiny bit.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to hamstring curl pull aparts.
Awesome. This is the last one of round 2, okay? So do good work here. Pull those shoulders down and back. Compress that core.
3,
Bend those knees.
2, 1. Hamstring curl pull aparts.
Pull those shoulders down and back. Compress the core like someone's going to punch you in the stomach. And then pull those heels hard, 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 bending the knees. And I want you to focus on the bend. Pull. Think of a recliner and you got
That's
to push
halfway.
the footstool down. Bend the knees. Drive those heels hard.
Three, 2, 1. Long rest.
All right, I am a man of high expectations, so my expectation is your body's warmed up, you're neurologically connected, everything is working. the way that it should. If that's not the case, you might need some self-massage. However, we are going to move on to round 3 and 4. So for round 3 and 4, I want you to imagine a good pace, okay? Just whatever that tempo is for you, follow that tempo with your repetitions, okay? We're gonna really challenge the repetitions on this round. That clap is our official
3,
halfway
2,
points.
1. Get ready for row squats.
Remember, good, tight core compression, shoulders down and back.
3, 2, 1. Row squats.
If you're not right now, you should be ripping the floor apart. Flat feet, okay? Your feet shouldn't be rolling up and moving, but keep your feet flat and rip the floor apart.
That's halfway.
Recompress that core. Rip that floor apart. Shoulders out of those ears, behind those ears, as
3,
much as possible.
2, 1. Transition to chest press lunge.
Remember, keep your chest high or elevated up to the ceiling, and imagine a beach ball in front of the chest that you're
3,
popping with your elbows.
2, 1. Chest press lunge.
Remember, you should be challenging your repetitions, so you should be moving faster, right? On a good tempo.
That's halfway.
Keep the beat for how much you want to move. Tight squeezes, firm compression.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to hammer curl. Good mornings. Three, 2, 1. Hammer curl. Good mornings.
Butt to the wall behind you. Stand up tall, squeezing your whole backside. And again, it's like you're trying to stand up to the ceiling. You're coming up tall. You're not arching back, pushing your hips forward. Okay, just get really tall. Squeeze your butt cheeks together.
That's
tight
halfway.
to finish your movement. And get a good squeeze on those biceps. Remember, we're going for repetitions, more reps.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to step up overhead press.
Remember, stay tall through the movement, compressing the core, and keep the pelvis level with the ground.
3, 2, 1. Step up overhead press. That's halfway.
Recompress the butt, the belly, the bra strap. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Each one nice and tight.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to tricep press down step back lunge. Three, 2, 1. Tricep press down step back lunge.
Stay tall, stay tight. Through that tricep press, we're trying to straighten those elbows, get a good compression on the back sides of those elbows. We get more muscle tissue active when we think more about the movement.
That's halfway.
It's not necessarily just resistance or repetitions. Right? It's still the thought process. Even though we're going for more repetitions, I want you actively thinking about how to create that movement with a stronger force.
3, 2, 1. Transition to hamstring curl pull aparts. 3, 2, 1. Hamstring curl pull aparts.
Last one of round 3. Good core compression. Sit nice and tall. Shoulder blades down and back. Bend those knees. Pull those heels hard, hard, hard as much as you can. Squeeze tight.
That's halfway.
You're almost there. Finish through, then we get a minute break. Do your best all the way, all the way, all the way.
Three, 2, 1. Long rest.
Very, very good work. Now, if you've stuck with us, that means you're dedicated. So make sure this last round, we are going to shoot for more resistance. Make it harder by stretching your bands more, getting more weight, whatever it takes to make this repetition or this round the hardest round. Okay, so squeeze with a lot of force, create a really big challenge so we can see an awesome change.
3, 2, 1. Get ready for row squats.
Again, add more resistance. Stay nice and tall. Compressing that
3,
core firm.
2, 1. Row squats.
This should feel like some of the hardest movements that you've ever done. Okay? So make sure you get a really good stretch on those bands. And you can always add weight to your hands.
That's halfway.
You want to challenge your squat. Pull those shoulders down, back, down, back. Really, really firm. Recompress.
3, 2, 1. Transition to chest press lunge.
Remember, lift that chest, put the beach ball in front of the chest, and pop it with those elbows.
3, 2, 1. Chest press lunge.
Stay tall. Challenge your lunge as you go through the movement. Squeeze nice and tight. Firm.
That's halfway.
Recompress that core. Pull those shoulders down and back. It's what the halfway point's for.
Three, 2, 1. Transition to hammer curl good mornings.
Okay, with your good mornings, reach the butt back. Now your hammer curls, I'm going to challenge you here. Halfway point.
3, 2, 1. Hammer curl good mornings.
At the halfway point, I want you to squeeze a little lower. Right? You're going to reach just 2 inches lower on your band. Okay? Just to make that hammer curl a little more difficult. Okay? Stand up tall, fight against that pressure. Okay, get ready. Here it comes.
That's halfway.
Okay, reach a little lower on those bands. Make it a big stretch. Make it hard. We're looking for difficult work here.
Three, two, one. Transition to step up overhead press.
Okay, great work. So continue that through this one, right? Try to get more resistance if you're able to.
Three,
compressing
two,
that.
1. Step up overhead press.
Core tight, squeeze hard. Work that balance if you need to work balance.
That's halfway.
Re-squeeze, recompress that core. If you have any resistance available, try to make it more difficult. Squeeze hard.
3, 2, 1. Transition to tricep press down step back lunge.
Squeeze through those elbows really hard, but don't roll your shoulders forward.
3, 2, 1. Tricep press down step back lunge.
Re-squeeze that core super tight. Keep those shoulder blades down and back. Press
That's halfway.
hard all the way through it.
Three, two, 1. Transition to hamstring curl pull aparts.
Last one of the day. Okay, make sure you get set and ready. Pull hard, sit tall, everything you've got right here.
3, 2, 1. Hamstring curl pull aparts.
So really make your brain connect to the tissue. Pull hard behind those knees, bending them. Pull those heels. Break that foam roller. Go a little more out of your pull apart. Stretch that band. Finish
That's
strong
halfway.
all the way through. Halfway point. Remember, recheck the core, recheck the shoulders. Tall and tight all the way through. Pull, pull, pull.
Three, 2, 1. Way to be rock stars.
The bicep is named that because there are two different attachment points near the shoulder. The short head attaches to the coracoid process, which is a part of the shoulder blade, and the long head goes over the humerus through the biceps channel and connects in the socket. Pain will be present inside your arm if there's a problem with the short head. If there's a problem with the long head, typically the pain will run over the shoulder. We're going to locate the head of the biceps that attaches near the forearm. To do this, flex your arm with your fingers on the bicep near the elbow and find the tendon at the base of the muscle belly. Simply pinch the muscle belly and extend the arm. If you feel like you're not getting enough pressure with your fingertips, use a lacrosse ball. Try one of two positions, either holding with your fingers or pressed with the palm into the bicep. I find I get better pressure when I use my palm. Remember to squeeze and extend. Another muscle that could create bicep pain is actually in your forearm. This is the brachioradialis, which passes from the humerus towards the wrist. To begin working the brachioradialis, reach under the elbow across to the forearm and pinch down as hard as you can tolerate. Now rotate the wrist, and the muscle should feel like it grinds underneath the fingertips. Do 7 to 10 repetitions, then locate a new point and continue to grind over that muscle. you should feel the fingers drop off the muscle. When you finish, put the fingers on top of the arm, pinch down, and create extension while rotating the wrist. Again, bend the elbow, then extend while you rotate the wrist. Notice my hand goes palm to chest, then palm to floor while I'm extending my elbow. Perform 7 to 10 repetitions, and then move on to the next tender spot and repeat. When you have finished the pin and stretch, move on to cross fiber friction. Place the arm you are working across your knees, then grind the opposite forearm across the muscle tissue near the bicep head. This should be an abrasive force moving through the muscle tissue quickly. Continue to press through that muscle tissue until you feel like you've broken down the entire thing.
They were competitive.
Best player was out last night.
I was.